Hello again, my name's Gabe Zollner. Well, I received a rather interesting little email. It's in reference to the Malaysian Flight 370, and I have no idea if it's real or if it isn't real, but it sure makes for a good movie plot. So what I thought I'd do is turn this into a little bit of a video. Here we go. During the American withdrawal from Afghanistan, one of the command and control systems used for controlling the drone operations was hijacked by the Taliban when the American transport convoy was moving down from one of the hilltop bases. The Taliban ambushed the convoy and killed 2 American SEAL personnel, seized the equipment and weapons, including the command and control system, which weighed around 20 tons, and packed them into 6 crates. This happened about a month ago in approximately February of 2014. The Taliban want money for the system from the Russians or the Chinese. The Russians are too busy in Ukraine. The Chinese are hungry for the system's technology. The Chinese goal is to master the technology behind the command and control systems. Then all the American drones will become useless. So the Chinese sent 8 top defense scientists to check the systems and agreed to pay millions for it. Sometime in early March of 2014, the 8 scientists and the 6 crates made their way to Malaysia, thinking that it was best conveyed and a convert way to avoid detection. The cargo was then kept in the embassy under diplomatic protection. Meanwhile, American counterintelligence, with the assistance of the Israeli intelligence together, determined to intercept and recapture the cargo. The Chinese calculated that it would be safe to transport via civilian aircraft so as to avoid suspicion. After all, the direct flight from KL to Beijing takes only 4.5 hours, and the American military will not hijack or harm civilian commercial aircraft. So, MH370 is the perfect carrier. There were 5 Americans and Israeli agents on board who are familiar with Boeing operation. The 2 Iranians with stolen passports worked in tandem among them. When MH370 was about to leave the Malaysian airspace and reporting to Vietnamese air control, an American AWAC jammed their signal, disabled the pilot control system, and switched over to remote control mode. That's when the plane suddenly lost altitude momentarily. During AWAC operations activity in the 9/11 incident, all Boeing aircraft and Airbus aircraft are installed with remote control systems to counter terrorist hijacking. Since then, all Boeing commercial aircraft could be remote controlled by FAA ATC ground towers. The same remote control system used to control the pilot, less spy planes and drones. The 5 American Israeli agents soon took over the plane, switched off the transponders and other communication systems, changed course, and flew westward. They dare not fly east to the Philippines or Guam because the whole South China Sea space was covered by Chinese surveillance radar and satellites. The Malaysian, Thai, and Indian military radars actually detected the unidentified aircraft but did not react. The plane flew over North Sumatra, Anambas, South India, and then landed at Maldives. Some villagers saw the aircraft refueled and continued its flight to Garcia Diego, the American air base in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The cargo and the black boxes were removed. The passengers were silenced via natural means, lack of oxygen, by achieving a temporary altitude to 45,000 feet. The MH370 with their passengers were airborne again via remote control and crashed into the South Indian Ocean. Make it to believe that the plane eventually ran out of fuel and crashed, and blame the defiant captain and co-pilot. But first diverting all the attention and search efforts in the South China Sea while the plane made their way to the Indian Ocean. Then they came out with some conflicting statements and evidence to confuse the world. The Australians are diversion distractors. The amount of effort put up by China in terms of the number of search aircraft, ships, and satellites searching first the South China Sea, then the Malacca Straits and the Indian Ocean is unprecedented. This showed that the China is very concerned, not so much because of the many Chinese civilian passengers, but mainly the high-value cargo and its 8 top defense scientists. One does not like to think of officials or leaders as committing evil covert events or to do things to cover up a mess. They operate under the premise called the burden of leadership, meaning the end justifies the means. The few inside the circle know the truth. Those outside the circle know a little bit, but the majority is confused. Then the objective has been achieved in order to stabilize the insanity of world events. This has been the course of human history from the get-go, and if you are fortunate to shoot pool with certain spooks, you are pretty privy to the inner circle. Hard to believe it, right? That's the goal. And this was dated May the 9th, 2014. I mean, either whoever put this together has an incredibly wild imagination, or it's the truth. There's little doubt that the passengers on that airplane were all asphyxiated. That's why the plane went to 45,000 feet, which is 3,000 feet above its cruising altitude. I went ahead and I did a little bit of Googling on a 777. The aircraft can carry 109 tons. 109 tons of fuel. I'm sorry, of cargo. I did that because when I first read this article, it said that this equipment that the Chinese were so eager to acquire and obtain weighed 20 tons. That I thought was a lot, but not being familiar with what the aircraft can carry, that's again why I did the Google search. I don't know, folks. Like I've said, I don't make the news. I just try to report the news. And this sounds incredibly viable. What do you think? I told you what I think.